Watch how the third quarter goes down. At least they called this one. A'ja Wilson creams Lexie Hull like she did 5 times in game 1. Peggy Hammock get 15 calls in a row and one goes another way and she starts screaming and crying. A'ja Wilson doesn't like Lexie Hull. She's always pushing her, but that's an illegal screen, and then Lexie Hull gets called for a foul.
The Indiana Fever just watched Game 2 slip right through their hands, and not because they were overpowered by the defending champions, not because their youth finally cracked under playoff pressure. No, Game 2 slipped away because the officials practically handed it to the Las Vegas Aces.
I mean, it feels like a physical game every game. Feels like it's been a physical season. But yes, I think, I feel like I've been on the ground a little bit more this series so far. But we just keep getting back up, so that's all you can really say.
41 fouls, 16 of them in one single quarter. Players shoved to the ground, possessions chopped into fragments, rhythm stolen before it ever had a chance to breathe. And yet somehow the story that made the headlines was A'ja Wilson's stat line, while Lexie Hull, playing through a painful back injury from game 1, fought with grit just to remain on the floor. This wasn't basketball, this was survival, but to understand what made this moment so frustrating for Indiana, you have to rewind back to the beginning of this series.
Take that. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. That's one. That's one. That's one. Yeah. They ain't song and dance to me, man. I'm just grateful, man. I love basketball. I love playing with my team. So let's take what we can get.
A'ja Wilson. Look at that foul they called for. Yeah, saved her. That's some bull crap. I love Aaliyah Boston. Great job today playing defense. Look at that. Another foul. Bailed out by the refs. I get pissed off. This is the worst one. They call this a jump ball. How is that a jump ball? Nobody even had possession. Aaliyah Boston, that's anything is over the back.
Game 1, the shock heard across the league. Nobody gave Indiana much of a chance walking into Las Vegas. The Aces were the 2-time champs. The home crowd was loud. The league painted the matchup as a mismatch. But the Fever didn't just walk into the arena, they stormed it. Kelsey Mitchell, steady and fearless, put on the performance of her life. 34 points, a playoff career high. Every possession felt like a statement. Catch and shoot, pull-ups, drives to the rim. Mitchell couldn't be contained. And the Fever as a whole played with a poise you just don't see from young rosters. Every time the Aces tried to press, Indiana countered with calm execution, never letting the pace slip out of their control.
And A'ja Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces lose Game 1 on their home court to the Indiana Fever, 89-73. The Indiana Fever were in control of this game from start to finish.
On the other end, A'ja Wilson, the MVP, the supposed trump card, suffered through a nightmare. 6 makes on 22 attempts. 6. Indiana swarmed her, contested everything, and forced her into uncomfortable shots all night. The Fever didn't just win, they dismantled Vegas's aura of invincibility, and they did it in their building, walking out with a 16-point blowout that immediately put the entire league on notice. Fans noticed the foul count even then. It felt lopsided, but Indiana's dominance was too strong for it to matter. The undercurrent of bias was brushed aside. The Fever had earned that opener with precision, defense, and discipline, and that embarrassment lit a fire under the Aces.
In the WNBA, you cannot blindside somebody and set a screen on them without enough time for letting the player being screened react. And then look at this. This one, their arms lock up, but you gotta let go at some point. Like, you can't bring the person closer to you and just stay locked in while the offensive player is trying to get the rebound. But we know A'ja Wilson only receives fouls.
Game 2, the whistle takes over. Everyone knew Las Vegas would respond in Game 2. The question wasn't if, it was how far they'd go. From the opening tip, it was obvious they weren't interested in clean basketball. This was a brawl disguised as defense. Arms hooked around cutters, shoves in the lane, forearms in the back. The officials never gained control, and in fact, seemed to encourage it. 41 fouls, 16 in the third quarter alone. That's not intensity, that's chaos. The Fever thrive on rhythm. They're a team that runs, shares the ball, finds flow, but Vegas dragged them into a choppy, whistle-filled grind. Every time Indiana started to surge, the game stopped. Every chance at momentum died in the shriek of a referee's whistle. And right in the middle of it all, Lexie Hull, she shouldn't even have been playing. Her back was injured in game 1. She was a game-time decision. Most players would have sat.
Yeah, I mean, it's how you look at it. It looks, honestly, by some of the fouls and the way it was going, it looks like we were almost too physical, but yet at the same time, I feel like we have to be able to get that on the other end. I think, sometimes when you just look at the game as a whole, when you look at the way that it works, sometimes you manipulate it to different ways and you have smaller matchups. So, I mean, I just don't think it's really possible all the time for some of those smaller matchups to really do such a clean job of that. But hey, I'm here to hoop, so none of my business.
Healed, waited for the series to shift home, not Hull. She strapped herself up, stepped on the floor, and instantly became the target of Vegas's rough style. Over and over, she was bumped, pushed, knocked to the hardwood, but instead of folding, she answered the only way she could by firing from deep. 5 3-pointers, tying a Fever playoff record. Every make was a punchback at the chaos around her. Afterwards, she admitted, "I'm feeling sore still, but I think just a lot of treatment, trying to get our bodies as ready as we can be. We're just pushing through." That's not a highlight reel quote. That's the voice of someone playing hurt, punished, but refusing to quit.
Steph, on that note, with Kelsey just having a little bit of a, they were able to contain a little bit more. How did you feel like they were able to be successful in that regard?
I mean, the physicality won. She's like a little pinball, I know that the museum's right down the street, so sometimes I feel like she's getting pinged around everywhere.
And yet the national conversation didn't celebrate Hull's courage. It didn't spotlight Indiana's fight to stay alive. It praised Aja Wilson, 25 points, 9 rebounds, 5 steals, 2 blocks, numbers that look clean on paper, but were built on bully ball, bruising collisions, and whistles that never seemed to favor the other side. The hidden adjustments. To be fair, the Aces did make one key tactical change. They erased Kelsey Mitchell. In Game 1, Mitchell torched them for 34 points, hitting from everywhere. By Game 2, Vegas decided enough was enough. They threw extra defenders, face guarded her, body checked her off every cut. Screens were met with double teams, passing lanes clogged with hands. Mitchell finished with just 13 points. It was smart, it was disciplined, and yes, it was effective, but let's be honest, the way it played out blurred the line between good defense and outright mugging.
The physicality is out of control, that's for sure. I mean, you can bump and grab a wide receiver in the NFL for those first 5 yards, but you can do it in the W for the whole half court. You put 2 hands on somebody like that, it should be an automatic foul. They have the freedom of movement. Freedom of movement. There's no freedom. And I'm not saying that we're not fouling too. I'm not saying that. Saying it's out of control.
Even Becky Hammon admitted afterward that the game was too physical. Think about that. The coach of the team that benefited all night from the whistle still wasn't thrilled. That tells you how messy it was. The unseen fight. Meanwhile, Aaliyah Boston quietly embodied toughness. 10 points, 13 rebounds, numbers that sound steady until you see how she earned them. Every board came with contact, every post touch with a shove. She played like a linebacker more than a center, absorbing hits just to stand her ground. And Odyssey Sims, the veteran spark plug, added 18 points. Half her possessions felt broken by contact, yet she kept finding ways to score. Every time Vegas delivered a push, Sims answered with buckets. Indiana's stars weren't silenced by talent, they were buried under whistles.
Now the starting point guard, and here's Hull, an early test. Great sign because her shooting has been off. Yes. Mitchell. Short. Hull. With another offensive rebound, turn, shoot, scores. 2 of their last 3. Hull again, yes. Oh, you found it. Fever runs still. Lexie Hull has scored the last 6 points for Indiana with a couple of threes. Mitchell, good look. And she got it. Kelsey Mitchell in that first half had 9 points, but was just 1 of 5 from 3-point range. It was Lexie Hull doing the damage from 3, and now she's doing a Kelsey Mitchell imitation of the night. Sims gets the roll.
Heading back to Indiana. So where does this leave the series? The Fever return home tied, but not shaken. They've seen the chaos, taken the hits, survived the whistle. They've proven they can withstand a storm on the road and still fire back. Las Vegas escaped Game 2 with a win, but if it took 41 fouls, a whistle-tilted night, and body blow basketball just to level the series, what happens when Indiana finally gets to play clean basketball in front of their home crowd? That's the question hanging over this matchup. The Aces may have the rings, but the Fever have something far more dangerous: belief. Because if Indiana could walk into Las Vegas, face the dynasty, survive the chaos, and still stand tall, then the league should brace itself. Let me know what you think. Drop a comment of support. Let's go Lexie. Let's go Fever.